yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Now today is Friday Fun Day, so I thought this would be a really great summary Friday Fun Day crochet pattern. This is our slice of life hot pad and pot holder. You can make a lemon, you can make an orange, you can make a pink grapefruit, and today we're going to make a lime with some green yarn. We'll talk more about yarn in just a second. One thing I do want to tell you first off, that this can be made in acrylic or cotton yarn. Just remember, if you're going to put something hot on it or hold something hot with it, fresh out of the oven or off the stove, you want to use a cotton yarn because acrylic will melt, it will burn your hand, and it can burn the surface. But if you're going to use them just for decorations, hang them up just for a fun garden party or decorate for summer, you can use acrylic or some other yarn, of course. All right? These measure approximately 9 inches. So this is going to be 9 inches, and then this is 9 inches across here. You can make one and fold it over like we did for this orange slice, or you can make 2 circles and put them together on your lemon. Now I put stripes on both sides. You can leave one side, totally solid with like the solid color, and then do just the stripes on the other side. And so it's a little bit versatile how you want to do your hot pads. I think you should do some round ones and some half ones. Hang them up together, set them on your table together. This would be so much fun to be sitting in the center of your table with a bowl of ice on it or something like that, or maybe have a couple of them for different dips for guacamole and chips or something. Just have some fun with it. Okay, now you can always find the written pattern on my blog with lots of pictures, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. So since I've already made a lemon, an orange, and a pink grapefruit, I'm going to make a lime today for our demonstration. Now, this is all acrylic yarns, medium weight number 4. For today's demonstration, I'm going to use this cotton. I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby. I think it's the perfect green for a lime. And then I'll just use some of the white cotton for the white portions. You're going to need about 5 ounces if you're making 2 sides. And then you need about 2.5 if you're just making one side or one circle. And then you just need a small amount, maybe 2 ounces at the most, of your white, just to do the white portion, because we'll start with white in the center and then we'll come back in and make these stripes. All right, so it doesn't take very much yarn. As a matter of fact, even though I've done these in traditional colors, you can come up with some other colors if you want to. You can make a bunch of purple ones or yellow or what. Of course this is yellow, but any colors that you want, maybe some variegateds that you have left over in your yarn stash. Just have some fun with it. All right, H-hook is what we're going to be using for our project today. It is a 5mm. You're going to need a needle, and I've got my bent needle out today because it makes it easier when it comes back into making these stitches. And there's a couple of ways that you can do that. I chose to do what's called the Lazy Daisy stitch, and I really like the way that it looks, but you could also do a straight stitch, and we'll talk more about that when we get farther on in our video. Okay, and then the last thing you need is a pair of scissors. Now just a reminder, if you're making the big round one, you're going to need to make 2 circles. If you're making the half circle, you're just going to make 1 and we're going to fold it over. We're starting with white, so I've got my mat out here so that you can see the white yarn. All right, so we're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to join this chain 5 into a circle. So I'll put the tail yarn across and pull it through that loop, snug it down, and tie that stay knot. Now, if you prefer to use the magic circle or another method to do your beginning circle, that's totally fine. We'll put our hook in the circle and chain 3. Now we're going to stitch 11 double crochets So that will give us a total of 12 double crochets. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're stitching 11 more for a total of 12 double crochets. All right, let's see how many I've stitched. I was talking and lost count. 1, because there's our chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, oops, and 12. All right, we're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch, but we're not going to chain 3 because we're going to change colors to our green. I'm going to pull this loop out just a little bit, so I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to gently pull on that string because I want to close up that hole in the center of my hot pad there. There we go. All right, I want to make sure we don't have a big hole in the center. So we're just going to go around there, gently pull on that, go up farther, and then go back the way we came. Now you don't have to have the bent tip needle to do this, or even to sew on the little striping lines, but I just like it because I think it makes it easier when it comes to doing that sort of thing. All right, I'm going to clip that off. There we go. So for row 1, we have 12 double crochets, and we join to our chain 3 with the slip stitch, but we are not going to chain 3. I've gone ahead and cut my yarn, and I'm going to bring in my color 2. And I'm doing this one as a lime, so I'm using this lime green. There we go. Now we're going to chain 3. When changing colors, you should always do that chain 2, 3, 4, whatever you're doing in the next color, or you end up with one stitch in the wrong color. All right, so now we're going to go right in that same stitch, and we're going to stitch a double crochet, and then we'll go in the next stitch and stitch 2 double crochets. And what we're doing for row 2 is stitching 2 double crochets in each of those stitches around. So we chained 3 and stitched 1 stitch in that same stitch as our chain 3, and 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets, working all the way around. And now we're starting to form the fruit portion of our citrus. And of course, I'm doing a lime. 2 double crochets in each, join back to our chain 3 and chain 3. I stitched a double crochet in the same stitch as my chain 3 and 2 in each, so I have 24 double crochets. I'm going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now for row 3, we're going to be doing what I call 1 and 2. So our chain 3 counts as 1, and we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in the next double crochet. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next, and 2 double crochets in the next. One and 2. I say this all the time. It's not an official term. It just helps me remember what I'm supposed to be doing on this row. All right, so 1 double crochet in the next double crochet and 2 double crochets in the next. And we'll repeat this working all the way around again because we're going in a circle. 1 and 2. I'm really liking this bright lime green. All right, so 1 double crochet in the next, 2 in the next, repeat all the way around, and again join back to our chain 3 and chain 3. So we repeated 1 and 2, repeated all the way around for row 3. we have 36 double crochets. We're going to join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now for row 4 we're going to do 2 and 2. All right, so our chain 3 counts as 1, then we'll double crochet in the next, and then in the next we'll stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1, 2, and then 2 double crochets in the next. And that's our repeat for row 4. 2 and 2. 1, 2, 1 in each of the next 2, and 2 double crochets in the next. And repeat all the way around. And join back to our chain 3. So I have repeated 2 and 2, 2 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 2, 2 in the next, all the way around. And so for row 4 we should have 48 double crochets. I joined to the chain 3 and chain 3, and we're going to do one more row in our green here. So what we're going to do is for row 5 is double crochet in the next 2, and that gives us 3 double crochets because our chain 3 counts as our first. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets in the next, 1 and 2. Looks like I got a bit of a tangle there. All right, now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 double crochets in the next. So for row 5, we're doing 3 and 2. 1 double crochet in the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and 2 double crochets in the next, 1 and 2. And again, we're going to repeat this all the way around and join back to our chain 3. So we're doing 3 and 2. I have completed row 5, and I have 60 double crochets for row 5. I joined to my chain 3, but I did not chain 3 because we're going to bring in our white yarn. Okay, now we're going to be bringing back in our green, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it attached because we're just going to do a couple of rows in the white, and then we'll trim it and put it together with our green. You can cut it if you want to. You can do whatever way is easiest for you. Now what we're going to be doing on row 6 is stitching single crochets. All right, so we're going to go right in that first stitch. Get in there. And we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. Then in the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 single crochets. And so we're repeating 4 and 2 for this row, only we're stitching single crochets for row 6. All right, so 1 single crochet in the next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 single crochets in the next. All right, 4 and 2, and we'll repeat it all the way around and join back to our first single crochet. And again, if this is annoying to you to leave this attached, you can certainly cut it and weave those in. I'm just leaving it attached because we're going to do 2 rows of single crochet in white and then bring the main color back in. So I stitched 1 single crochet in the next 4, 2 in the next, all the way around, and then joined to my first single crochet. All right, so now what we're going to do, we'll chain 1, and then we'll go right in that first stitch, and we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in the first 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 single crochets in the next. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 single crochets in the next. So we're doing 5 and 2 all the way around, and then again join back to our first single crochet. I grabbed my mat again so that you can see what I did on this white rose. So we did 5 and 2 all the way around. We're going to join to our first single crochet with a slip stitch and tie off. And so I'm going to pull that loop to the back and tie that off. Now I did leave my green one attached. If you're making the round hot pad like this one, you want to leave your main color attached, because that's what we're going to be doing around the edge, and then adding this trim in this color. Okay, but if it's too clumsy for you, you can go ahead and cut it off, because we're going to go ahead and add these lines at this point so that we can mark those slices or sections of our citrus fruits. Okay, so if you're doing the round one, you need 2 circles. If you're just doing the half circle, of course, we just need 1. So I evenly placed 10 of these lines. You can do more, you can do less. It's totally up to you. But the way that I do it is I'm going to put my yarn on my needle here. And you'll probably have to add, yarn a couple of times to have enough. If I can get this in my needle. There we go. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it so that this seam section is on the side. Okay, and I do this whether I'm doing the round one or the half one when it comes to making those lines. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right up the center. So I'm going to come in from underneath, and we're going to leave a little bit behind here for weaving in. All right, so I'm going to make a little loop. I'm going to go back in and come up after that double crochet stitch. Okay, and then we'll just follow that line up, and this is called the lazy daisy stitch. And I'm following, making my stitches 1 on each of the double crochet rows. All right, so I'll go in and come up. Okay, so there's my first one. I'm going to go in right there. And then behind here, I'm just going to make a little loop so that stays put. All right, now I'm going to go in here and just go across. So I can make my next set. All right, and so this one we're going to be working from the top down, and we're just going to be doing the opposite of what we just did. So we're coming up this way. There we go. And so now I have 2. All right, so I'm going to go in and I'll make a little loop. And then I'll move over to the next spot and we'll go up, go across, come down, go across behind and come back up. Okay, so I'm going to come right here. And this one needs to be pulled a little snugger because we don't want it to be too loose. We don't want it getting caught on anything. All right, so then we'll just go right back up. And you can do, 8 of these. You can do 12 of them. It's totally up to you how many slices you want your lemons, limes, grapefruits, and oranges to have. All right, we'll just do this all the way around so that I have 10 lines for my lime. Now I have made my lines for my slices, and you'll notice they're not exactly perfect. This one's wider, this one's more narrow. It doesn't really matter because they aren't perfect in a lime, but if you want to make them perfect, you can certainly measure, count your stitches, and make sure you've got the same amount in between each of your lines. The other thing I wanted to say is that I used lazy daisy stitches and I really like how that looks. But if you want to just use a straight stitch where you just make a straight line, you can do that as well. Or another method, if you think that that works better, another method is to slip stitch on top so that you've got a line of slip stitches and they'll be a little more 3D, and it does look nice that way as well. So there are some other options in making your lines. I just really like the lazy daisy style. Now again, if you're making the circle, you're going to need 2 of the circles. If you're making the half circle, of course, you just need 1. And for our demonstration today, because the trim is done the same on both, the only difference is we're only going halfway across the circle instead of all the way around. But they finish up the same on both styles. So I took a few minutes and tidied up the back. It's not going to matter too much, all these lines, because they're not going to be seen. Okay? If you're doing the 2 circles, you're going to put them together with the wrong sides inside and the right sides outside. And it's the same thing with the half circle. The only difference is we're just going to fold it in half. And what I like to do is kind of look at it to see which way it's going to look best with the way I've put my stripes on. And I like this. I think it looks nice. Now I still have my yarn attached. If you don't, you can go ahead and join that in. All right, so we'll go right in those first stitches on the side, grab that yarn and bring it in. All right, and now we're going to single crochet along the edge. And so again, whether you're doing a whole circle or a half circle, we're going to be stitching the front and back together. And we're just placing 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets around, joining them together, whether you're doing a whole or half circle. 1 single crochet, and we are using our main color that we chose for our fruit. Or if you're doing a different style where you made a purple or a pink fruit or something and you want to do this different, you certainly can. I did that on the pink grapefruit. Let me grab that so you can see. I made the inside sort of a melony pink, and then I did yellow on the edge. And so you can do that for fun. All right, so we're just going to stitch 1 single crochet in each around, stitching the front and back together. And again, if you're doing the circle, you're putting 2 circles together. And if you're doing half circle, we just folded it in half and we're stitching that across the edge. So I have single crocheted 1 in each all the way across, stitching the front and back together. And again, you'll do the same thing if you're doing the round one. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to join back to that single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. All right, and now in this chain 10, we're going to place 12 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that makes a nice loop for hanging up your fruit if you want to hang it up for decoration, or after you've used it you can hang it up. All right, you can leave that off if you don't want it. All right, so now we're going to go in that first single crochet and single crochet and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll skip the next and single crochet in the next. Chain 3, skip the next and single crochet in the next, and we'll repeat this all the way around, whether you're doing a half circle or a whole circle. It's done exactly the same. Chain 3, skip the next, single crochet in the next. And we'll just repeat this for a nice fun edge on our slice of life citrus fruit. So I have repeated that. Single crochet, skip 1, chain 3, single crochet all the way around, and I want to show you again on the round one where it's done exactly the same. Here's our loop, and then we went around and did that same edge on the yellow. All right, so now we're going to tie off and weave in our end, and we will be all done. And the nice part about it is all of those ends where we put the lines in for our citrus slices are all inside and will never be seen again. It's a great way to hide your stitches though. Alrighty. So I'm just gonna weave this down in here. So we have lemons, limes, oranges, and pink grapefruit. And you can make these in a circle, for a whole slice, or a half a slice. Aren't they fun? And remember, you can make them in acrylic or cotton, depending on what you're going to use them for, and they make great summer decorations.